There will be some point at your life where you will be questioning everything and anything. And when that happens, you need a stable anchor to get you out of it. To me, fitness has been that. Fitness has been my go to that saves me from really bad situations.
This is All Things Fitness and Wellness, hosted by Chrissy Van. Together, we're uniting industry thought leaders and fitfluencers on the mission to inspire innovation and encourage people to live a life fit and well. Brought to you by the Personal Training Institute. Learn how to train, gain, and retain clients. Visit bcpti.ca. Melika Zamani is the founder of GymDate, a ladies-only social fitness community on a mission to help women find a gym partner. She organizes empowering monthly group fitness events designed to encourage women to embrace movement and draw inspiration from the experience. We're going to be learning how she brought this to life and why gym owners should take note. Before we get to it, be sure to hit like and subscribe. We have new podcast episodes every Wednesday featuring industry thought leaders and influencers. Plus, we recently launched Exercise Snacks Bite-Size Science. These snack-size episodes explore the latest science and research with the scientists and researchers themselves. I'm your host, Chrissy Van, and this is ATFW. I am so happy to meet you, first of all, Melika, especially because I know that your initiative, GymDate, that you've been bringing to life is all about uniting community. And I also really appreciate the tenacity that it takes to create efforts like this, because it doesn't happen overnight. You get a spark of an idea, and then there's generally sometimes a little bit of motivational procrastination in between, little sprinkle of imposter syndrome, and then before you know it, your idea becomes reality because you did it. So let's kind of reverse a little bit here, because obviously this isn't your full-time career at this time. So what was your background before you started this in the first place?
Yeah, my background was and is in the marketing industry. I work for a marketing agency, and that's my 9 to 5. I think that kind of really helped me kickstart GymDate as well.
So where was the idea of GymDate born from?
It has a funny story, actually, Chrissy. I have a really active lifestyle. I just like trying new things, and I'm new to Toronto. When I moved here, I had absolutely nobody who was into the things I do. I play tennis, I ski, I go to the gym, all these things.
Where did you
Uh,
move from, just before we continue?
Winnipeg.
Oh, amazing.
Yes. So I came here, and then I just had all this idea that like if I had just like an Instagram page, something small, to let people know that I'm going out and like join me if you want or something, it would be really cool. And I told this idea to a friend, and she goes like, "Oh, this is such a great location for that idea of yours. You can like host something here. Everybody can work out together. They can meet each other." And I just go like, "No, like don't be silly. It's just an idea. Like I don't have a brand. I have nothing." And then that night I go back home. For the fun of it, I start emailing like a few small brands in Toronto and see if they would be supportive of the idea. And they go like, "Yes, like we can support it." And like literally the email was like, "If I host like a yoga picnic with 10 of my friends, would you be willing to give us some samples?" And they're like, "Yeah, for sure. Like we love this. We would totally support." And that's how it all started like rolling.
Well, it really shows the pairing of your marketing background as well to
Yeah.
reach out to these brands. So, what was the first event that you put on? How did you gather everyone together? And where did this ball really start rolling from?
I found myself a tennis partner in Toronto, through networking events. She happens to be a yoga instructor. She told me about that the first time we played. And after I emailed the brands, I realized, okay, I need an actual instructor to lead something. The first idea was that, okay, maybe I can just go park, bring up YouTube, just have fun with some ladies. But then I was like, no, okay, maybe I can get an instructor. So I asked her, and she said, okay. And then she was like, okay, so where should we host it? And I was like, it's just a small get together. Maybe we can just all go to a park. That was the first thing. We organized a little picnic together. We put like one single poster up. It was like, if anybody wants to join, just DM me, and then we'll tell you the location and you can come. And it's just a friendly thing. And that's how the first event went.
What were the main channels that you used to promote that?
Just Instagram.
Just
Uh,
Instagram.
yeah, just Instagram.
And so how have you grown that from there then?
We came a long way from yoga picnic.
Because when would this have been then? Like how long ago was Yoga Picnic?
Not long ago actually. Yoga picnic happened on August. It was literally 10 people. A lot of friends and family came out of those 10 people.
That counts
So,
for a lot. It's really nice when you come up with an idea and friends and family support you, and not always the case. So kudos to them.
yes, yes. After that, I kind of started focusing more on the Instagram channel, running a lot of ads to see how far I can grow it. I've been doing a lot of podcasts. I also use Eventbrite and some of the, so I partner with venues and instructors, and they kind of help me, especially venues. They really help me promote all the events, share it with their platform. Also, you see how people like bar hop here? I gym hop.
Love
So
it. I can relate to this so much.
yeah, so I do have a small little network in the fitness community in Toronto, and I'm so thankful because they have been really helpful just sharing the events.
Well, and as it's grown, because I think one of the things we talk about on this podcast so often is that, and you know this as an active person, obviously your physical health counts for a lot. You have better sleep. You generally feel more confident within yourself. Movement is just good, but it's good on so many different levels. Mental health is obviously a huge conversation now. The mental health benefits of exercise. It is scientifically proven to help combat depression and anxiety, which we know is plaguing people of all generations at this time at really concerning levels. So we have this available, but it's the social wellness aspect as well. And I know, I mean, for myself, I'm edging toward 40 in a couple of years. Generations behind me to the same degree, we all got impacted over the last couple of years at different phases in our life. You start to see your friendships change. I have a lot of friends that are having kids. People are like, how do I meet people? Then I look at generations younger than us that had a lot of the typical experiences that they would have growing up, let's say through a university, and all of a sudden you were doing several years at home and not able to socialize. And so I think that never have we realized how important our social well being is until a lot of that capacity was taken away from us over the last couple of years. So, talk to me a little bit about socially how this community growing has helped people in your community.
I'll speak from my experience first. As much as I love fitness, I also think staying consistent in it is very hard. It's like you take that one class and you're like, yes, I'm gonna get my life together and I'm gonna go consistently. But like it's like those days, which is like I had 10 meetings today and I really don't feel like going to the gym. That kind of throws you off. Uh,
Definitely relatable.
yeah, so having this community has really helped me just have somebody to reach out to and be like, hey, do you want to take a class together today? And they do the same with me. So it kind of holds me accountable and holds them accountable to come to the class and not leave your friend alone. And I think that was one of the main things this community has done for me and for people who meet within the classes as well.
It's expanding that social network. You get accountability. You get people that are looking to challenge themselves, challenge each other. And I'm sure a lot of friendships are going to grow from it as well, which my number one advice, I mean, I've moved to a new destination as well. You said this was kind of born moving from Winnipeg to Toronto. And the number one advice I have for people whenever they change geographic location, find a hobby. Find a hobby, you'll find your people. And I think fitness is a great way to do that socially. What's the feedback been from some of the boutique studios that you worked with? Because obviously for them, you're really providing a service at that point, introducing a lot of new members to their class style.
So we are actually, I can't say which one yet, but we're actually partnering with one of the really fun Neo studios in Toronto who just opened. And that will be the first actual studio that we're partnering with. So we're looking forward to that. Before this, we have been mainly partnering with like event spaces and everything has been run by myself, just resourcing everything in. So yeah, that's how it was going. I will keep you posted on how our first studio event goes.
Yeah, because I mean, obviously, it is really advantageous. Every boutique gym or even like larger box gyms, it's about getting members to take that first step, and you're kind of facilitating that process. So there's value in that for sure. And I'm sure one you're really aware with your marketing background. Talk to me a little bit about how your marketing background has set you up for success to help grow this. What have been some of the most valuable skills that you have that you've been able to apply?
I think marketing is needed for anything in life. And I think one of the main things that pushed me forward in this process was my marketing background. I was talking to a friend the other day and I told her how I started reaching out to sponsors from day one. And she was like, okay, like that's great because I see people are very hesitant to do that. And I feel like that was one of the main things. The other main things that made me go forward was their support. Like if I wouldn't have reached out, if I wouldn't see I have that support, I wouldn't be able to move forward. So it's just like having the knowledge that what I'm selling, what value I'm giving to your business, what is my audience, things like that has really helped me get people to understand that I know what I'm doing and ask them to trust me and kind of support me in this process.
Well, and you kind of talk about something that I think can be difficult for a lot of people, and that is taking the first step and initiating those conversations.
I just feel like the only thing I can tell you is to start. When I started, I did not have a clear idea of where this is going to go. I just wanted to try something out to see if it works. And I feel like that should be the case with everybody trying to start something of their own. You first need to just tip your toe in and see if it's your thing, not thinking about that multi-million-dollar business you want to run one day. So just start. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to have everything together to start. Just start and ask for support from your community. That's also very important. Whether that's small businesses, whether that's friends, whether that's a mentor you can reach out, having support of somebody within your network is going to be really important for you in your journey.
Who were the people that you've leaned on the most, and how did they add value on the journey?
For me, it's that friend who told me, "Oh, this is a great place for your business idea." I call her my chief supporting officer.
Oh, I love that. Everyone needs a
Yes,
chief supporting officer. That's so
everybody needs
awesome.
a chief supporting officer.
And was this
um,
somebody that you had been longtime friends with, or someone that you've
yeah,
met here? Okay, cool.
she was my university friend, and she moved to Toronto with me. She's not really into sports, but she comes to every single event, and I'm like, I
Good.
love for this.
And how was it that she was able, like, aside from kind of being a cheerleader of this is a great idea, but along the way, how has having that person really helped push you along or maybe push you forward in a lot of ways?
So something about starting a new thing doesn't have to be a business. A new thing for you is that it's not going to be successful from the beginning, and that's very not motivating. So when you have like a cheerleader next to you, they are there to celebrate your small wins with you. Whether that's getting two new person to come to a gym date event, she was always there telling me, "Oh my God, look, like we met two new people. Like you are reaching your goal of meeting new people in Toronto. This is why you started this." And it kind of pushed me to not look at the whole thing as a fail and count my little small wins along the way.
That's a lot of power in that statement because really what you speak to is something we all have to battle. In order to put something like that out there, you have to do such a fine dance with your ego. You need your ego enough to actually make the move to put it out there. Like I think sometimes, especially in like the world of self-help, ego gets a bad rap where it's like you should dissolve it so you can move forward. There is merit in that, but you do need a hint of it to have that kind of confidence and wherewithal within yourself. However, that same ego, when you're not seeing the momentum or the traction right away, can also translate into that little voice in our heads that says, you're failing, this isn't good enough, X and Y. And it would be so easy to quit in those moments,
Yeah,
right? Because you
for sure.
really, it takes a lot to put yourself out there. Like, how did you personally work through that feeling that we all have to navigate of like, I'm just going to show up and try?
How I tell it to my friends is that I see this as an expensive hobby. It's just like you see those people who are like into buying, I don't know, designer bags. Like most of my friends do. They're always like into like the latest jewelry trends and designer bags, and it's like I feel like I put that money into this thing. I have put down a lot, of course, to get this started, and I just see it like that. It's just like my expensive hobby. At the end, if it felt it was a hobby for me, it was fun. I enjoyed it, and that's it.
You have passion in the process, but I'm sure you also have a bit of vision over where this could go. So when
Of
you
course.
kind of enjoy, I think, manifestation gets used so much, but when you do visualize this coming to a bigger reality, what does that look like for you in an ideal world?
In an ideal world, this is going to be the Bumble of fitness. It's where I see you do CrossFit and you do yoga, and I'm going to match with you to go to a yoga class with you, type of a thing. And hopefully, we'll get there one day.
Well, and I know that you've kind of specifically tailored this toward women empowerment. So talk to me about why you went that route and why you felt there was kind of that need there for connection in that space.
I think the need is very much tailored toward people around me, because I myself work out a lot. I take a lot of workout classes, and I'm not in fear of going to a new workout class and try something new. But every time I ask people around me to come with me, the biggest pushback is that I always get is that, like, we don't really know, like, I don't know, we don't really know how reformer Pilates work, or we don't really know how machines in gyms work. So I wanted to create a safe space where you don't have to worry if you know it or you don't know it. You are in it to explore it together. And I think when you have that mindset that you're not going to be judged, you will be a lot safer to express yourself, and you'll be a lot more open to try new things.
And I know gym intimidation is a huge factor for a lot of people. And sometimes we just kind of discount ourselves before giving it a try, trying something new again. Gives you a reason where there could be that I feel like I failed publicly kind of thing. But if you don't try at all, you never get the experience. And I'm sure there's so much positive feedback from your community that has been growing. So, what has some of that been after people have come out for the first time? Because you've grown enough that this has moved far beyond just friends and family showing up to your events.
Thankfully. Thankfully.
Hey, you just started this since August, so you ain't doing half bad.
I posted something on my Instagram the other day, and I was like, after trying like a million small businesses, one of them made it to the second week, and I'm just thankful for that. I see people going to workout events together that is outside gym date, and I think that really warms my heart. I try to share some of like their pictures if they allow me on the platform, and I write what they say. And I think that just makes me feel like I made a positive impact in Toronto, and I'm new here, so that's just amazing.
You talked about the fact that you were from Winnipeg, moved with your friend, but what did initiate the move from Winnipeg to Toronto? For we have listeners from all over, and I feel
Yeah,
like not to discount people, but not everyone knows how huge Canada is.
yeah, for
Massive
sure.
country, and like every location is very different. Winnipeg is vastly different from
Yeah.
living in Toronto. So what kind of sparked that big leap?
So I did move to Winnipeg when I was 17. I'm born and raised in Iran. And staying in Winnipeg is amazing. It teaches you a lot of things, teaches you how to battle minus 50,
Oh
most
yeah.
important.
And gigantic bugs in the summer.
Yes, that too. But for me, it was a bit small. I was ready to explore something out of my comfort zone, and that's why I moved to Toronto. I literally didn't even apply to any jobs in Winnipeg right after university. I straight directly moved here. I don't know if it was right or wrong, but I did it. That being said, I do miss a lot of things about Winnipeg, and probably the most important thing is the sense of community. Winnipeg is smaller, so you feel a lot more loved when you walk in the street, and you don't have that in Toronto.
No, that's really fair because that's the thing. It's like the larger the city, you can almost feel invisible sometimes walking down the street. I had the same thing happen to me. I lived in Niagara on the Lake. It was a town of 13,000 people, then a slightly bigger city of 130,000 in St. Catharines. Then I came to Vancouver, which isn't a massive city per se. I think we're about 650,000 population. That being said, everyone looked at me like I had 12 heads when I said hello at the bottom of an elevator. And I
I
was
know.
like,
I feel you. We walk around and it's just like, oh hi, like how are you? And I've never met you in my life.
exactly. I'm like saying hello to people on the streets. And all of a sudden I was like, oh, we don't do that here, which is a shame because at the end of the day, I think humans ultimately do create connection. And yes, we all have different lived experiences, but there is this innate want for I see you and you see me. And we may come from completely different lived experiences. We may have a million things in common, but it's like having those little moments of recognition that there's another human on the other side and building a connection. It's a skill that I think we're losing more and more as humans because we have our heads down in technology. And trust me, I love technology. I'm here for it. I've explored greatly in AI this year. Social media is obviously a huge tool both you and I do to propel our messages. I wouldn't want to live without it. But I think it's so important to create spaces where we do have that opportunity to actually have a face to face interaction. And never has that become more important. So I really commend you on creating a community like this and taking the initiative. Would your ultimate goal then to see this grow? Can you see this being your full time thing in the near future?
Well, I think that's the goal, hey?
Yeah. Like, what will
Yeah,
be your next steps to get there?
we already have planned the first quarter of next year, a lot of partnerships coming, and I'm very hopeful for that. Depending on how our partnerships are going to go, we might be able to expand to other cities in Canada, and I look forward to that. Winnipeg is going to be first stop.
Well, it only makes sense and it's only fair because I'm sure you have many friends looking forward to that there. What have been the reactions of your friends and family who have kind of followed you from the idea to this becoming reality?
Yesterday, I was having dinner with a friend and I was like, hey, like it's year end. Let's talk about what we're thankful for this year. And it meant a lot when, like, one of the first few things she said was that, oh, I'm very thankful for GymDate. And I was like, my heart. She's actually one of my instructors and one of my closest friends, that the tennis partner. That's how we became like very close through GymDate. I honestly get a lot of support from friends and family. And when I talk about GymDate to them, it's never about getting somewhere. It's about what I already achieved. So they're always like, oh my God, this is great. You're doing great. We're so proud of you. And honestly, that's very heartwarming.
Creating community, it's adding so much value to people's lives. As you're kind of wrapping up this year, what would be the biggest lessons that you've learned along the way that could be helpful to somebody that's perhaps looking to pursue or put their dream in action? Because we know, and I hate the word resolution because we know resolutions generally don't fly, but inevitably people are going to be setting some goals and visions for this year. So what would be your biggest learnings that might help them as they're shaping theirs?
One thing I do want to talk about is something my mom always tells me. She always says, turn your threats to opportunities. And I think that's how I moved through a lot of obstacles this year. I remember there was one of my events that wasn't selling out, and it was 3 days before the event. In full transparency, I turned that to a marketing show, inviting influencers, inviting friends, inviting people who can help me show my value and what I'm trying to bring to the table. Financially, I put down a lot for that event, but it turned out to be a good marketing for my business. And I think that's one of the things you can take away from this podcast. Just remember, every threat is an opportunity.
Really, what you're doing is mindset reframing. And a lot of times that inner voice in our head is the one that can win and turn things into a negative when stuff like that happens. But I think you bring across 2 points too, that it can feel like there's so much competition in the world and there's not space for a new idea. And you kind of just prove that there's there's space for everyone. You can work together with everyone. And ultimately, if you have that approach, you're going to grow a lot faster. So I'm so excited to see where you take the GymDate journey. I think it's a fabulous name. I could see it expanding beyond. I mean, truthfully, people are having a lot of trouble dating these days. Like, do
I
you not
know.
envision like a gym Tinder situation happening?
Literally. There is one actually. It's basically the concept is that you can match with your gym crush. But anyways, off topic.
Off topic, but also I'm like, I just don't rule it out.
I would, honestly, I would be the first person who's gonna use that. I would love that idea.
Well, before I let you go, I mean, we did kind of talk about the fact that you've always led this active lifestyle. And I think you really highlight and speak to the fact that it is something that can connect us. But what has physical activity meant to you, and how has it changed your life? And why is it so important to you?
This one hits the spot. There will be some point at your life where you will be questioning everything and anything. And when that happens, you need a stable anchor to get you out of it. My journey with fitness has always been on and off, but there was a point where I was like, I think at like from this point forward, this will be a consistent part of my life. And that was when I realized I don't have a stable anchor. I don't have that thing to go to when horrible things happen, when I lose somebody, when I lose my job, like all these. To me, fitness has been that. Fitness has been my go to that saves me from really bad situations. People work out for different reasons. I always say, please work out to feel good, not to get that body. It never
Yeah, I
works.
I preach that all the time here.
I'm not saying please view it the way I view it, but please give it a thought because it really has a potential for you to be that thing you go to in your hardest moments, and it's always going to be there for you.
Full transparency for you, that's a huge reason why it's so important to me as well. And I don't think you and I are alone in that. And I think that's why more and more spreading the message of physical activity. I mean, the reason why I asked that question, and you may know this, but we have really poor percentages of people that are celebrating movement. It may seem like we've got it figured out in Canada, in North America as a whole, because we do have a lot of options and great places to celebrate movement. But the reality is it's over 80% of the population isn't taking
Yeah.
part in physical activity. And I think you touch on an excellent point that the narrative for a long time was very backwards, and it was all about how you look and shredded abs and generally body ideals, especially if you were a woman, which good fucking luck because they weren't realistic at all.
I
But I
know.
think the beauty is there is a huge shift happening on mass scale, and more of us are becoming aware of all these other benefits, the mental benefits, the physical benefits that go far beyond the looks, and more about the good sleep and preventing chronic disease later in life. And the big one that you are celebrating, which is social connection, which I think that as human beings cannot be discounted. We know that loneliness is a killer, and the fact that your initiative could be a little olive branch to somebody to take a first step. I commend you on that. And I really look forward to following your journey. I'm so glad that you had the tenacity to reach out. It's what it's all about, and it's about supporting each other. So thank you so very much. And I really appreciate your time in joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me today, Chrissy. It was a pleasure talking to you.
You've just listened to the All Things Fitness and Wellness podcast, hosted by Chrissy Van. This episode was brought to you by Fitness World, your fitness, your way. Be sure to hit like and subscribe. We have new podcast episodes weekly featuring industry insiders and influencers. Together, we're on a mission for everyone to live a life fit and well.